She right behind me. My diamonds oh so shiny. Even sometimes they blind me. My repertoire's big. Nothing I do is tiny. They wanna be me when they see me, cause that's just a rude awakening. Try me or deny me, and I am the dude who will take it there. I got money trees and in this season, watch I take them in. You just junior flexing, man, that's cute, somebody break them in. Flexing with my dogs, flexing with my bras. I'm flexible when flexing, cause I flex like it's my job. You can't see me like Mirage. Just because. How you gon' pull up in bull jigs when your car's in a garage? Never that. Did somebody ever say they better at flexing big? I go bigger and that's how I get them back. You cannot flex on me or get the best of me. I'm master flex like Master Chef. I just get the recipe. Yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing, 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 I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing, Look, I ain't playing no games with none of y'all. I won't play this. I'm stunting on them, I'm stunt man, I'm famous. Never seen so many flexing. All y'all got anguish. If y'all talk about flexing, y'all talking my language. I swear on everything, y'all something else. So much hate, I'm shocked to say that all y'all got something left. Just know I'm flexing on everything, if nothing else. That's why I put these boys away, put them boys up on the shelf. No weight room, I super set. Pull two cars out at once, call that a super flex. Y'all looking just super stressed, I'm looking so super blessed. If you ain't got no flex, then I call that a super mess. Tell the world all about me. I flex hard, and I might be the coldest that you ever seen. Take notice, I'm focused, flexing on your team. Yo, I be flexing, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing,
How you gon' flex? How I flex? I try to tell these haters that my flex is the best. You should understand I'm the man of the rest. You wanna see me flex? I'ma show you what it is.
Yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, yo, I be flexing, I got the word. I be flexing, I got the word. Yo, I be flexing,
The world's best gather here. XBL baseball starts now.
It's crushed to the moon, and we're tied.
He picks it up on the second, over to first in time for the double play that ends the inning.
That's gone.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Trying to repeat.
It's gone!
And Homer to the pen! This game is over!
Oh! Crushed! Left field! Off the pole!
Domingo Bell, deep right center field, carrying, and it's gone!
That was hit hard. Left center field.
Swung on bell to the deep left field. Is this baby gone? A grand slam!
Champion! The AAA World Series is over! What a live shot!
I can't believe my eyes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another production here of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. Not only is it a production, it is a big one. We've got the Season 19 preview show here for you tonight. It's as hype as ever, one of our biggest seasons to date with all of the people that have joined across all three leagues. And I personally, me, Dwayne, am joined by three of the best colleagues I could ask for in all of the universe here in the XBL booth. Starting off with Zlat, the man, the animal himself. How you doing tonight, Zlat? Are you ready to preview this banger?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get season 19 kicked off and running here. So glad to be here. Thanks for waiting, everybody. And yeah, we're really eager to get this preseason show on the road for you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you as well. Slots shouted it out for obviously waiting for the delayed start time as we got set up. Some of these things take a little bit longer than anticipated, but we are ready to rock and roll. And speaking of the man who's ready to rock and roll, who is ready to rock for more XBL action than the man, the AAA aficionado himself? It is Mystery Man. How you doing tonight, dude?
I'm really good. I just saw Unholy Jesus pop into the chat here, which I think is exactly what we need to get really boosted up here for tonight. You know, we got a lot of content, so let's cut to the chase.
We do indeed. We've got tons of stuff to go through, but before we do that, we get to bring in our ever so favorite booth mate. It is the unicorn, the man with the horn. How you doing, my brother? Welcome back, God's Unicorn.
What's up? So good to be in here. Super excited for season 19. Like Miss just pointed out, we got some new people in here. We got some people changing leagues around to make things a little bit spicy. We've got all three leagues filled out nicely. I see H8, my Reddit prodigy, in the chat. And we got so many people, including Urban now in the chat. It's just going to be a really good season. And if y'all give me a second, switch something over. We got something else coming back this season as well.
Here he goes. At this point, I think we've all learned not to be too surprised. There he is.
Okay, no one taught me how to put a wig on. All right, it don't fit very well. But Unicorn of the Week will be returning, okay? Whether you like it or not, we're going to have Unicorn of the Week. And for the new people, it's not about who plays the best, okay? You get plenty of awards for who plays the best. We do a few power ranking shows every season, maybe 3 or 4 a season. In between each ranking show, if you impress the most, maybe you went from 2-12 to 10-12 and had a great 2 weeks, you can get Unicorn of the Week, and you can go back and watch some old power ranking shows to see what that comes with. Some really corny and cringy skits, but something to throw it up, get a little different in here. So I'm excited for that. And then the last note I want to point out, if y'all didn't see my general chat, please send me highlights of any cool clips over the last 2 or 3 seasons that you might want in the intro hype trailer, as well as calls from the XBL official cast. We're going to get the last 30 seconds or so swapped out, so if you want to be in that, please send them in my DMs. All right.
Yep, heed his word. We are revamping the trailer. As you know, some of those logos that just flashed by are a bit dated, but we do have someone on hand that is going to hopefully be able to help us with that, so get those in there for Uni. Like he said, Unicorn of the Week coming back. Tons of fun stuff that we're going to have for you throughout the season, in addition to what we've got going on here tonight, which is our preview rankings, our matches of the week, and opening night, the hot takes, as always. And of course, we do have a special Hall of Fame announcement some of you may not have expected here on the back of this offseason. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And as always, traditionally, we're going to be starting off with the AA rankings, the preview rankings as voted on by the Rankers and League Office. This is a group that is a mixed group of both players and League Office members that set these rankings for the season. And without further ado, we have Zlat and Mist about to take it away with our 13th, 14th, and 15th ranked teams.
Go ahead, Zlat.
Sure, yeah. So starting off at 15 here, we have West Blue Marine, a newcomer, rookie. Really excited to see how they kind of get their feet wet here in their first games with the XBL, playing on 77 Ego. So, they are, just going to be a competent player. Haven't really seen a whole lot of activity out of them. I know they've got some scrims under their belt, so that's good to see. But we are eager to kind of see how they get going. Forget Things and Cookie Monster. Forget Things is another rookie of the XBL. If I'm not wrong, I believe he's an SMNL player. So it'll be exciting, of course, to see those communities kind of bond a little bit again. And Cookie Monster, towards the end of the season, last season, kind of caught a little bit of steam. Maybe wasn't the best showing that they were hoping for, but looking to kind of get a fresh start here and kind of turn that 5-19 record into something a little more, a little more fear-inducing for the playoffs and round robin once that time comes. Don't you say so, Mist?
Yeah. I think this actually matches my rankings. I hated to put Submarine or Blue Marine and Forget Things down there, but I just have no track record, so I think it's a little bit of a placeholder. But I'm really excited to see Cookie Monster back in here because I had a feeling, Cookie took it on the chin last season. It seemed to have a buddy going into last season who abandoned him. I didn't think we would see the Cookie man back in here, so I'm really excited to see Cookie because, we all know I started at the extreme bottom of AA when I came into this league, and now I'm middle to top AAA. So, Cookie can do it. Going to be interesting. Has that Philadelphia Liberty logo that we all love. So, it's a good group.
All right, we'll take it on up now to 10, 11, and 12. We've got a couple other new players sandwiching one of our veterans in Joey and his sickos. We got Tangerines and Odin Owls and Big O Brad.
Yeah, we got Big O Brad 12 here in the Odin Owls. Love the name. Love the sort of negative space usage on the logo there. That's great. Another rookie and playing at 76 Ego, so similar to some of the other rookies we saw there, going to play on a competitive Ego here in the AA. Keep in mind, of course, guys, especially if you're rookies, there's just not a whole lot of data to go off of. So as far as power rankings are concerned, expect these to fluctuate quite a bit throughout the season. We have Joey here returning, and he'll be power ranked at 11 here to get us going, also on 77 Ego, kind of a recurring theme for a lot of the players. And on a similar storyline to Cookie there, just maybe not the season they kind of hoped for. Had a bit of a flame in the round robin, but looking to get things going again here as season 19 progresses. And then Tangerine, of course, another rookie. 65 Ego listed there. I believe I did a little bit of research. I think they've recently been playing around 67 and still putting up solid runs scored. So I kind of expect them to climb in the power rankings, but also see their Ego climb a bit. We'll kind of see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Big O Brad would be down here. That I think Big O Brad is going to be a lot better than that. As far as Joey, Joey just has fun. Don't throw Joey a curveball. I've played several matches of the week against Joey, and I've seen that ball going, 400 to 430 on the curveball. I think if Joey puts his head down, he can finish top 5. Tangerine looks like a good new player. I expect Tangerine to improve quite a bit, so I would expect the Ego to go in the up direction. I don't know about playoffs, but I think Tangerine's going to be good.
All right, interesting take on these three players. We're going to take it on up to where we got a little bit more meat and possibly some more veteran action here, as we do see 3 veterans at our 7, 8, and 9 rankings here. A bunch of players who have played now multiple seasons in the AA, and that's really, really exciting, as AA is something that has had trouble in the past running consecutive seasons at all. So good to see everybody back.
Yeah, absolutely. And starting us off at 9 here, we see SpongeHog with a bit of a team name change there. He's got the Banditos this season. He's going to look to improve on his previous season where, it was a 6-18 overall record, but they did, I believe, advance to the quarterfinals through the round robin, going 2-1. So kind of the coveted Rockers mantra of down but not out, always playing to the final out. And it's kind of 2 seasons in a row now where they've showed up and fell just a little bit short. But I'm sure that they're going to continue to be a powerhouse here in the rankings. Moving along to the Stampede Baseball Club, we get Sparty returning, of course. He was 10-14, a solid season, playing on that 64 ego. And it's their 3rd season, which is just really great to see, as Dwayne kind of alluded to in the AA. Just trying to keep the longevity of the AA is really important. So super happy to see them returning. And speaking of 3rd AA season, we also have Bo Dangles there, ranked at 7th. They had a good, solid regular season at 16-18. Also finishing, advancing through round robin last season. It was a bit shaky, though. It came down to that final game, and they advanced on run differential. And then I think it went into a best-of-1 play-on game. So very interesting stuff. Going to be interested to see how their bat shapes up here as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think Sponge is kind of a typical dark horse. You don't want to get on the wrong side of one of those runs. Spartacus, I'm really surprised to see the ego that low. I think Spartacus can do quite a bit better than this. So this is maybe a good starting point to just continuously move in the right direction. I expect Sparty to be around 70 by the end of the season, could possibly even take a playoff series. And then Bo Dangles at 7 seems extremely low to me, has that fire logo, a really good hitter. So I would have thought I probably had Bo in the top 3, but regardless, certainly a top half player.
Yeah, this is right where they start, kind of going either way. And this is always a really exciting part of the rankings throughout the season, especially in the preview show. Because now we're going to start taking it into what you would consider, like you just said, that top half, at least rated by the rankers here in the early days. And it's where we see Kawashi Blue, Malik Dragonborn, and MC Vibraphone all make their appearances. All returning AA players, MC coming back down from the AAA, but did play a previous AA season in the past.
Yeah, 3 solid players here yet again, especially by the AA standard. Of course, MC Vibraphone tried to, push their limits and boundaries, kind of see how far they could get in the AAA, and they gave it a valiant effort. They didn't drop out. They completed all their games. They're putting in a lot of time in scrims, I think, as well. So don't let that record reflect anything too much. We're going to be seeing them down at the AA level here against AA opponents. They're going to be on the 82 ego, so that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, but do not sleep on the meat case. As well as the Beholders, because the Beholders had an insane Cup group stage performance. I think they were paired up with Mama. I don't recall the others off the top of my head. I just know they had a monstrous group performance here in our off-season cup, so do not sleep on the Beholders. They also had a solid AA season. Just kind of some things fell apart at the end for them, so keep an eye on them for sure through the season. And then, of course, Kawashi made it to that World Series final against Redstone. The Icebirds are going to look to get a bit of revenge and, put their names on the title this time around.
Yeah, I think last season I was really high on Vibraphone. I kind of see Vibraphone as the Misto of the AA right now. Has kind of underperformed. It seems to have the talent to do better than what we've seen recently. I've seen him hit well, so it hasn't really put it together. So I'm not sure if it's lack of play or what it is, but Vibraphone definitely has enough talent to be really top 3. Malik had that big run last season and then kind of got it handed to him in the cup. But if I was Malik, I wouldn't be too discouraged by that. That's kind of standard procedure when you start playing these up. When you're all of a sudden matched up against Ox and Zlat and Unicorn and even myself. When you're used to playing these lower players, it's tough. It's hard. You're not used to some of the tactics and probably pitching location. But a really good hitter. And Kawashi is very polished. Not really the best hitter, but probably should be top 3, I think, just based on last season. But again, the hitting can kind of be questionable. So the pitching is good. The logo is fire. I think Kawashi probably makes the finals, but at least the semis.
Yeah, this is where you start talking about, those type of deep run predictions. And we've yet to reveal what is about to come up, the top 3. So without further ado, we'll probably hear a little bit more about those deep type playoff runs you expect, as these 3 players in the AA, all real strong candidates. You got Prestone, Jay, and the Enemigos, and Albrat dropping from the AAA for their first ever AA season. That's an exciting shout right there.
Yeah, super exciting. Also super exciting logos there with the Pirates, the Enemigos, and Prestone returning after winning that World Series in the previous season. So a very solid top 3 here. Honestly, I don't have a ton setting these teams apart. They're kind of all in lockstep. It's going to be very, very exciting to see Albrecht's AA performance here. I think they're very solid pitching-wise in the AAAs. Just the bat was a little too inconsistent. So now that they're going to be playing at a slightly lower ego, super excited to see how their potential comes throughout the season. Jay had a strong performance in the AA last season as well, falling in a best of 5. It went all 5 games. It went to the limit against Kawashi, and we know that Kawashi made it to the World Series final. So I think Jay's really looking to make a name for themselves. Earned Rookie of the Year last season, so just a lot of positive momentum going for them here to kick the season off. And of course, Prestone, not much really needs to be said. Dominant performance in the World Series, returning again here in season 19. So a lot of exciting stuff to look forward to here for the AA.
Yeah, I remember a time a few seasons back where Albrat had a really good week after kind of a decent start and appeared to be catapulting to the upper half of AAA. And then his bat kind of let him down. So if I'm Albrat, he's a spliff star type pitcher. He uses junk. He's very accurate. He's very smart. Don't worry so much about the bat. The bat will be there. I've seen him hit. So he's going to be tough. I see Team Enemigos extremely similar to Simon last season. I think if anybody's going to jump up that ego into some crazy 90 or whatever Simon did last season, it's going to be Team Enemigos. I mean, I don't expect it to be that high, but I think the potential is there. And then Prestone, that's the proven. That's like Lazy, putting Lazy number 1. That's the proven commodity. There's others that are going to threaten. I think the Pels, wasn't super dominant, but right now is legit the number 1.
Yeah, there's a ton of strong, bats here and big candidates for long ballos and big hits. So it's going to be a true dogfight at the top of the AA and all throughout it, really, as we've just seen tons of new faces. So you have no idea where these players are going to fall into the mix on a true scale, especially in the AA with it being on that sliding ego. So that is really awesome to see. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to all our new players in the AA. We look forward to what y'all are going to put onto the field for us this season. And we now are going to move on up to the AAA preseason rankings. This one here, an exciting one, is I'm down in the AAA now with my gang. So without further ado, I think it's Uni and Mist taking this one away.
You can go first on AAA, Mist.
I love Cody. Cody's a great player. I think he has a lot to learn. I think he's still figuring. I've seen him kind of bat 2 different styles. He could be wild at times, or he could be very controlled and seems to really be sitting for something in the middle. So I think Cody is still figuring it out, but I've seen him be extremely difficult to pitch to. His pitching itself, he locates well, but his pitching theory is extremely weak. So it needs to learn how to pitch to humans, I think. But I still like his club.
Yeah, there's a few players in the AAA that are new that I don't know a whole lot about because they're new, and I'm not super in lockstep with the SMNL. But I've seen Codfine scrimming a lot, and that already is a big key indicator to the type of player someone can be. Just because when you get more PvP in the XBL, you're gonna improve. It's literally It's bound to happen if you play. And his logo looks like some sort of Egyptian cat, dog, Pegasus mix thing. So I'm rooting for Codfine just for that to jump up the rankings.
Yeah, definitely the Fire logo and the Fire uniforms even more so.
Yeah, agreed. I've played a few scrims with the guy too, and those are some Fire unis. We'll have to see how he fares during the season as we move on up the board to ranks 19, 20, and 21 here in the AAA. As we see the return of Silly Power Ranger in the wild cards, as well as Johnny Caliber and his archers. And we've got the new wild card and Hate here, the rookie. So it's going to be exciting to see what this group can do.
Yeah, H8 struggling really badly at the moment, but is also the most green in the field. So we would expect H8 to be ranked in the bottom 3 just for that. So this is somebody to watch. Has a great attitude, should be okay eventually. Johnny did far less last season than we expected. He came in with just an absolute kill logo. Came in with some momentum from AA and didn't really produce, but I still think based on his AA, the one season, he really did well. So we'll see on that one. Silly can't be down here. Time to step it up. So Silly needs to be at minimum in the middle, dead middle, to lower middle, lower upper half maybe. But Silly's a good player, and I think Silly will do well this season.
Yeah, when it comes to H8, I mean, we would all agree on the fact that he, like you said, Mist, he's the most green. He spoke on the fact he really has only played offline, and it's a pretty steep learning curve jumping into, especially the AAA instead of the AA. The learning curve of playing these real players that are going to use chase pitches and things like that it's really quite steep. I scrimmed him, and I know he can hit. It's going to be that PvP adjustment. He was hitting low, outside, dotted 99-mile-an-hour fastballs, and that shows me he's got the bat speed for it. So he's someone I would look at in the second half of the season when he's more adjusted to these players, someone that's going to get into the playoffs even though he's starting off at rank 21. Other than the Archers, they had that really tough season when they were in the AAA a few years ago, but they did improve last year, and when you look at their batting numbers, they really weren't that bad. He put up almost 4 per in his games last season. It's his pitching that he's got to work on a little bit. I'm not sure if it's location or if it's pitch selection, because both can cause fits, but if you're Johnny and the Archers, I would just look for more improvement this season. If you get 10 to 12 wins, you can make it into the playoffs. And the field that we have this year. Other than Silly, I would agree with Mist once again. He's someone I expected more out of last season, but it was his first AAA season, and when you go up, I mean, not only is the ego an issue, but you're playing against players that are just better in terms of baseball mindset and SMB IQ. He's got that AA Von Asen, so he can obviously pitch, and his pitching numbers last season really showed that. He gave up only around 5 per, and I would expect his bat to be a lot stronger this season with his second season under his belt. Silly Power Ranger is someone just like you said, Mist. I think he's more of a middle to top half of the league whenever he locks in.
Yeah, all these players here definitely already causing a commotion here in the chat with the rankings, so that's always a good sign. We're already having a really lit show, so let's keep it up, keep the vibes up, keep the counterculture going in there. You guys are doing a good job. Let's move on up to 16, 17, and 18, where we see some big veteran energy, as well as another returning player who's going to get his feet wet, and we're going to see a little bit more of that I think we've all liked to see, and that's Puffer Dog. And then he's sandwiched by those veterans, I say, in Rise and Fall and Alec, 2 Hall of Fame players, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Alec, God, the pitching was just so bad. He's got that Von Asen next to his name, so we know that Alec can do it. The bat is a little streaky, but he has a quick bat at times, so I could see Alec making a little bit of noise, but that not if the pitching doesn't improve. Puffer Dog, I could see putting Puffer as high as in the top 5, very low top 5, but I didn't do that great against Coffee. I mean, I didn't do that great against Coffee in the playoffs either. But it has a good hitter, really good hitter. And then Rise and Fall, this, you know, I would love to see him finish 5 or 6 games above 500 for once. He's always 500 or lower. I think last season was the first season he was at 500. Maybe someone dropped and he lost that, but he was basically 500. And we all know how dangerous he is. So I would love to see the Pirates take that next step.
Alec's someone I'm not super familiar with. I know he's got a lot to his name in terms of the older games, but obviously SMB4 is a different game than SMB2 is. But if you have those accolades to your name, you've got to have some respect on it. I think he had a really tough start to the season last season. Then he started improving. It seemed like maybe he was starting to get his feet back underneath him, jumping back into the game. So if he carries that into this season, he's going to be just fine. He knows the game, the ins and outs of the PvP because of his previous seasons he's played. So Alec is someone that you can look for to jump up really maybe more than anybody in these rankings by the end of the season. Then Puffer Dog, like Miss said, he's got a really good bat. I mean, he's got almost a 400 average. I believe, yeah, last season was his first AAA season and you're almost 500. So that's a lot better than most rookies are going to do when they jump up to the AAA. His pitching might be a little bit questionable. It looks like he gave up over 6 runs per game, but he scored almost the exact same. He only had a -7 run differential for the whole season. And in your first AAA season, I mean, I would expect him to have a positive run differential this next season, which means usually an over 500 record, which means you're in the playoffs. Then Rise and Fall, Hall of Famer, and he's known to be a stud pitcher. I believe Rise and Fall is the one that built an absolute dreadnought of a starting rotation last season, and that really helped bolster his record to jump above 500 like you talked about, where he's normally right under 500. So when it comes to Rise, it's more about he's a small ball type of scorer. So if he can pitch the same way he did before, then maybe small ball a little more consistently across the at the plate. Rise and Fall's another name you look at. He's one of those players that every year we say you don't want to face this guy in the playoffs because of his pitching prowess, and he's going to be right back in that boat this season.
Yeah, you can expect always a little bit of giant killing from old Rise and Fall. And, it's going to be exciting to see like what all 3 of these players can do, as you stated already multiple times. But it really is a ton of untapped potential in the bats in this crew, I'd have to say, and Rise, like I said, in that potential to just win huge games. So let's check out who's above them. I mean, it's got to be crazy. It's 13, 14, and 15, and it's Ricks and the Hippies with an absolute stunner every time of a logo. Holy crap, this is the first time I've seen it. And then you got Fireball Max and his Miami Knights, and Corn Central and the Seawolves, 2 mashers down here low in the rankings. You got to think, yeah, there's going to be some uproar here.
Yeah, I think I had Corn Central around 6 or 7, something like that. Corn Central, extremely quick bat. Rumored to be a weak pitcher. I've seen him pitch well, so I think his bat has actually regressed. I don't know if he's trying something different or what, but the Seawolves are extremely dangerous based on accolades in other leagues. Fireball Max, he didn't seem to like my rankings, my preseason rankings that I posted, as I would expect him not to. Fireball Max should be top 5. Needs to pitch a little bit better. He's still got Roberto Ramos. I didn't think he was going with the Knights. I think he might be going with something else, but regardless, Max has the bat. And then this Hippies logo is blowing me away. This is number 1 right here. I think when we start doing rankings, that's a crazy logo. The heart down on the bottom with the kind of hippie-ish colors looks really good. And, to have Rick's ranked at 13 is ludicrous on its face, and I'll just leave it at that.
True that. When it comes to Corn, I know in the SMNL, when I peep in there, he's winning playoff games against XBL level players over there, and he's usually, from what I saw, I believe, playing at a higher ego than AAA. Corn's a player that, this is the 2nd straight season now that I've thought, when Corn is playing well, when he's, I guess peaking to a sense, he's legitimately a top 5 sort of player in the AAA. It's just Corn seems like the most streaky player in the AAA, and that goes for a lot of people, but his peaks and valleys seem to really hit a lot harder than other people. And if Corn listens to this, my big thing would be when he's patient at the plate, he is a completely different player. You'll find him in moments being very impatient at the plate, and that's where he struggles. But when he's patient, he is literally good enough to beat anyone in the AAA and make a run. Corn's someone that if he can stay at the peak instead of the valley, he's very scary for the rest of the league and someone that could legitimately win a championship. Fireball down here at 14. I mean, Fireball seems so tough to rank every season when I go and do these rankings because when he plays, he mashes. He's got Roberto Ramos that's hitting shit 500 yards or 500 feet. 500 yards would be insane. I've been playing too much golf. 500 feet out of the stadium, and his pitching style is so weird. He'll reticle 50% of the pitches, but they seem to land in corners. That's why he's got the no-hitter to his name, but he's got that long ball to pair with it. Fireball is just a player that you have to be very scared of when you face him. It's just how is the pitching going to be? How are the reticles going to land in that zone? His bat is pretty consistent. And like Miss said, I think Fireball is a different Miami Knights logo, but we'll see. We'll see if he can match this Hippies logo because, my lord, like everyone else said, this thing is absolutely fire. I dusted my hands off and thought I did a good job when I changed my colors from purple to blue on my logo this season, and now the Hippies are over here looking completely fresh. He already had my favorite logo, and now he's got a new favorite logo. It's insane. But Rick's down here at 13 shows how deep the AAA remains to be and how much parity there is, because Rick's is someone that's been to the championship, and he's someone with such a peculiar pitching style that it really causes fits for people. But he's a contact swinger half the time, so that's where he's sometimes limited. But I think in this season's field of the AAA, I think it's slightly weaker than last season. And I think Ricks is someone that's going to be, no doubt, in the top 10 for me, just based off his pitching alone. His bat's fine, but his pitching is what separates him.
Yeah, Ricks is always a dog to have to face, always a close game producer, but the two players, as you discussed beneath, Corn and Fireball Max, are real mashers. Corn been doing a ton of side work, so you could expect some different rankings for these players probably as things shake out in the season as well. More surprises to come. This has been an exciting set of rankings as we move now to 10, 11, and 12. And we see Julio Aces taking a humongous jump up to number 10, followed up by Simon and his Jailbirds in his first AAA season after smashing his way through the AA, but just coming short of the title. And then we've got No Swad returning with the Jow as another fire logo, and you know, one of the brothers now has returned and made his appearance on the rankings. You know, that means there's only more to come.
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to completely blow off what Uni said about this being a weaker field than last season. I think people that think that, and legitimately so, probably in their mind, they don't really know who Skull is, for one, and they're not really fully taking into account Dwayne and No Name. Those people dropping down is going to be absolute murder. And then, of course, just the natural improvement of people like Jay Ace. No Swad's kind of an unknown because we know he can be a top 5 type. Don't know how much he's been playing. Obviously has that absolute kill Jawa's logo. Does have a good game, can pitch. A little bit streaky with the bat. And then Simon's a dark horse because was, I think, on 90 or even 91 maybe last season in AA. Can handle the ego. 87 is not going to bother Simon. Pitching has been questionable at times. Jay Ace has that bat. Again, not necessarily the best pitching, and a little bit of a niche hitting style, but probably the most, at least as dangerous as anybody in the field.
Yeah, definitely want to shout out Noswad and Clutch coming back. Love to see the brothers return. We're still missing Natron, the third brother, to complete it, but it's good to have 2 of the 3 back. Almost a passing rate. Noswad's somebody that if you played with him before, he was in my original AA season. such a good player. Such a good player. It's more so with Nas than anything is he's one of those players that it seems like when he's scrimming, he's really, really good. But if he has to take breaks because of work and things like that, he starts to fall off, which is the same for most players. But Naswat, if he's able to remain consistent and stay on the game, 12 is far too low for him. He's someone that's going to be a top 7 sort of player if he can just keep practicing, because he's got both sides of the ball. He can pitch and he can hit. It's all about consistency. And even when Nas isn't at his best, he doesn't have super low valleys. He's a very consistent player in the years that I've seen him, and he's only got one AAA season and he was over 500. So that's a good thing to look at whenever you're going into your second season. Simon, definitely a wild card. He would have won the AA last year if he got a little bit screwed over, I would say, from the ego, because he was having to play at above AAA ego against players that were at AA, which is, I mean, that's tough. You could put a AAA player at their ego in the AA and they might not win, just because ego differential can mean that much of a difference, especially when it comes to hitting and the way that it will give you a lot of breaks in terms of your reticle placement. So Simon's actually dropping ego a little bit to come to the AAA, which is a super weird situation to be in. But it shows he's not going to be phased by the ego. His bat's going to be fine. The only thing that's going to be a concern is his pitching, because the hitters in AAA are definitely a head above the AA. His bat's going to be fine, but as long as he can locate, which Simon is not a bad locator at all, but you need to have some pretty exceptional location to get yourself to the championship in the AAA. Jailbirds could be literally anywhere from 5 to 20, depending how their pitching goes. Julio, I mean, we can just call it how it is. His roster was straight ass last season, and that really affected him, and Julio is very aware of it. I know he's not a believer in fielding, so I hope that notion stays true, because his fielding looked pretty low in the scrims I did, but Julio's an absolute dog at the plate. Do not throw him an off speed, because that thing is going 450. But pitching-wise, Julio's got to work on his pitching a little bit, which he is. But his roster alone is going to get him up to 500 at least. Going from 10 and 28 to being ranked 10, that shows right there the respect we have for Julio.
Yeah, tons of respect, I think, on these players, and obviously everyone else that we've talked about so far tonight. But, you know, this is where we've, like we said, we're starting to see some returning players, some real shakeups in the rankings, some real heavy hitters, some real questionable spots, things like that. So it's just an exciting group, and we're now jumping inside of the top 10 where things get a little bit spicier. Let's check out 7, 8, and 9. Oh, there he is. It's Mystery Man. He popped right up there in front of us before we even knew it. And then we've got Just No Name and his base band. It's taking the dip from XBL. You know, he and I are a package deal. And Skull and the Lecheros, the return of the unholy one. He's back, and if you know what that means, you better prepare your fans to catch some balls in the stands, because the heavy hitter has returned.
Yeah. Ilk is definitely back on the menu here. I had Skull number 1. So, I mean, I'm relying on history here, but it is tough to come back after a big layoff. Even if you've been playing the game, it is tough. I mean, these are monsters, and AAA has improved a lot since Skull was in here. That said, I do think Skull is the most dangerous player in the field. Base Bandits could win it all, or could come in lazy on the last day and lose 9 games in a row. Has the talent to win the whole thing. Has won the whole thing, I believe, or at least was in the finals. Didn't win the whole thing, but was right there, and has played several XBL seasons. You know, one of those speed players, a really good speed player, probably the best. And then myself, just the inconsistency is so freaking annoying. You know, I kind of like Rise. I certainly can beat anybody, but you know, I split Teflon on Match of the Week last season. I split Black Coffee early in the season. I mean, these are like the top players. I don't know what I did against Ice, but I bet I won a game. Maybe I didn't, but routinely beat him in scrims, or at least am you know, competitive. So we'll see how the Scooby Gang does this season.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of Skull before in my life. I was definitely surprised when I looked at y'all's rankings when I was doing mine and maybe using a little bit of a cheat sheet. I didn't realize Skull has even played before. The fact that he's got a AAA Lombolo and an XBL Rookie of the Year instantly means if I would have known that, I would have ranked him a lot higher. Mine probably skewed this quite a bit, or he'd be 7. If Skull hits like that, all I can say is I really hope he gets himself on Match of the Week and hits a walk-off, because I just want to hit him with the he needs some milk type of shit from the Lecheros. All right, I need that this season. Okay. Then you got No Name jumping into the AAA. No Name. I mean, I played him in the XBL. So annoying to play, especially when it hits you with that 4-seam straight down the middle and your reticle's in the corner, because it's so just random. But what's really going to help him, not only does he have AAA experience, and he's an excellent pitcher, very underrated pitcher, and but his base stealing tactics, it's just when you go to the XBL, everyone knows those tricks. Everyone knows those tricks. In the AAA, you're going to catch people off guard sometimes. They're good players, but there's just people that don't have quite as much experience, and the base bandits and No Name are really going to be able to benefit from that. Because, like Miss said, he might, quite frankly, be the best at base shenanigans of all time. And that's why he's the base bandits. He's dead-ass got like 599 speed players on his team. The Mystery Man, far too humble in your rankings, my sir. Put yourself at like 15. Are you serious? You got to be more cocky than that, because I'm surprised to even see you at 7. You're a top 5 player whenever you're playing at your peak. You had a little bit of a drop-off last season, obviously, but that Season 8 that you had really showed the potential that the Scooby-Doo gang has. Mystery Man is always a grinder. He's always going to be on the game consistently, and you can bet that his bats are going to stay. They're not going to be in a valley the way other players are. Mystery Man's the type of player that if he catches fire in the playoffs, he will run through everyone in the playoffs. It's about Mystery Man getting to that point at the right time of the season, because a lot of times you'll see Mist really pop off early or mid-season. If he can figure out how to do that late in the season, the AAA is in trouble, and no one deserves a championship in the AAA more than Mystery Man.
Timing is everything, like you just said, and this is a big field. It is very, very big. There's going to be a ton of games this season. Getting hot at the right time is going to be huge, because we've already talked about so many talented players, some real heavy hitters, some real bangers, and there's still 6 more to come. We're moving into the AAA's top 6 in the preseason power rankings. Let's check out 4, 5, and 6. It's Elron Coin, Spliff Star, and Heisman. Not anyone here on this list would I ever really want to face in a deep series, because they're the type of players that will pull the rug right out from under you. And definitely eyeing up Heisman and Spliff Star on the pitching aspect of that, and Elron with the swinging.
I think Houston and the Matrix are fairly similar in that they're really quality pitchers. I think Spliff Star's even a little bit more cunning. I feel like I am even more afraid of Spliff Star on the mound, but I do think Houston has a little bit more, possibly a lot more of a batter's eye, even though some of that is contact hitting. So both of the, all 3 of these are really, really top players, and then Elron is really more the bat. I'm really not down on his pitching. It's not going to be top 5. I don't think he needs to be top 5. I could see Coin making the finals. I think I had him ranked number 2. So I think the help deskers, if the pitching is as good as I think it is going to at least, at absolute minimum, finish in the top 5.
Yeah, here's Heisman yet again. Every AAA season that I've been here, it feels like, or every season I've been here, sorry. Roster builder extraordinaire. Come on, bro. Why are we trolling? Why are we trolling this guy? Okay. Yeah, Heisman's known for roster building. Yeah, let's say that. But he's always here in the top 7 to start the season. And his record really proves... That's terrible. His record really proves it every year. He finds himself in a top 8 sort of range going into the playoffs. But Heisman, he's got a it's a lot of the same things I said about Mist. He really needs to show that he can play at his best when it's time to play at your best. And he's someone that can do that. He's in his 7th season now. And from what I've heard, he's got a lot better roster now because he figured out $250,000 in a speed luxury tax might not be the best bang for your buck. So that alone, I think, is going to give Heisman. I honestly see him as at least a semifinals type of guy. I had him ranked in the top 4, I believe. Then Spliff Star, insane pitcher, in my opinion, has the best roster in the AAA, especially his middle infield is absolutely absurd. I'm talking like when it's clutch time, there are hundreds across the board. You don't get anything through the middle. And his pitching is just really, really good. His batting got a lot more consistent last season. But if Spliff Star's going to win the whole thing, it's not his pitching he has to worry about. That's going to be fine. Even on a down day, he's only going to give you about 5. He's got to remain consistent at the plate and work on sometimes his patience can lack. And he knows that, and he's a grinder, and he's someone that's going to find himself, I would imagine, in the top 3 of the standings again at the end of this season. It's all about playoffs for him. Elron, absolute master at the plate. The help deskers absolutely nuked the ball. When it comes to Elron, I think for him it's really a big note would be the matchups that he gets in the playoffs. There's certain pitching styles that can really cause fits for Elron, and we saw that last year in the playoffs where he struggled offensively in his series. I believe it was Ice. Ice makes everyone struggle, but Elron's got certain pitching styles that can cause him fits. His pitching is good enough. It probably needs to improve by maybe 1 run allowed per 9 or so, but his bat's going to be there. And Elron's someone that it's easy to say with him ranked at 4, but he's a semifinalist at the bare minimum. Elron, this is the type of season where you got to go and get that trophy.
Yeah, these are all types of players where you're kind of waiting for that like ceiling to break on each one of them, I'd have to think. Elron definitely can mash his way, like we've said, you know, through some forest and fire. And then we've got Spliff Star with the pitching, and now, as I said, he can finally win the Von Asen now that he's gone up to the XBL. And we've got Heisman as well, like you said, just so improved over season. We'll see what they bring in the AAA, and let's take it to the top 3. Let's see who we've got. We've ranked number 1. There's myself, and then we got Mr. Clutch and the Mythosaurs and Eduardo here. I think you can cut this one any way you really want to. Minus Eduardo, you can kind of throw him. You know, you could probably bring one of the other guys up, but. Yeah, I mean, cooked meat is cooked meat. Well, any way you chop it. But either way, folks, jokes aside, this is an impressive crew. I'm going to let the guys take it away.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see Mr. Clutch ranked number 2. My initial thought was to put him number 1 or 2, but I still think didn't play last season. I mean, that hurts a lot. And kind of like what we said about Skull. And even his brother Nos. The XBL is, this is the Premier League. So when you miss a season, you can't just expect that you're going to come back and be what you were or something better than that. So Clutch has the talent. Nobody's questioning that. Sirloins, sirloins being the sirloins are kind of like a rich man's Plum Island Pirates in a way. Really, really pitched well last season, and that's where I think I think the floor for the sirloins is really high. So I don't think the Searles are not going to finish lower than top 10 in the regular season. So putting them 3 is very reasonable. And then Dwayne is the one that has actually won this league. So I guess it's fair to put the Motos number 1 just based on, that to be quite frank, dream season where the Motos caught fire at, we've been talking about doing it at the right time, right, Uni? And the Motos are the ones that did it at the right time.
100% missed. When you look at this top 3, like Dwayne said at the beginning, you could really flip-flop these 3 anyway. It doesn't matter. These guys are going to be top 5 pretty much no matter what. These are the cream of the crop in the AAA. Eduardo, like Miss said, super, super high floor. He's someone that's going to go out there and at the bare minimum, he's going to get like 20 wins. But if he goes on vacation, you can guarantee about a 12 win streak immediately after he hits his feet off the cruise ship. It's 20 straight wins. And Eduardo is one of those players, I say it every year, the contact swing is what limits him. His pitching is great, his IQ is great, his reticle is great, but contact swinging it just simply limits you in a lot of ways, especially at higher egos. But Eduardo's someone that's found himself, I believe, 2 or 3 seasons in a row now in the semifinals, and not only there, but in elimination game 7s. And I don't want to say he's choked, but he's choked in game 7s and lost. So he's right there on the cusp of a finals, which he has also been to before. You can see right there in season 12. Then Mr. Clutch, I had him number 1 personally, because if you've played Mr. Clutch, you know how terrible it is to play Mr. Clutch, because he's got players on his team that it seems like are guaranteed hits, like holographic Charizard, Oxbox shout out type of players. And when you look at that AAA Rookie of the Year, look at his record, 26-12 his first year in the AAA. Are you serious? And that's because he's a top end bat. But not only is he a top end bat, his location is superb. If anything, I would say the knock on him is his pitching IQ in terms of when to throw what pitch to what player in what situation. But Mr. Clutch is someone that I would be surprised if they're not in the XBL next season. Hopefully they return again, because Mr. Clutch was in the XBL last time he played. That's how good Mr. Clutch is. And AAA, I think, is going to find that out pretty quickly. And then you got Dwayne coming down from the XBL. Anytime someone drops down, you got to give him respect. Plus, you can see he's got the commissioner on his notes right there, which means they're at least going to rig like 4 or 5 games for him. Then his pitching is vastly underrated, I think. Dwayne is one of the people that can locate, and he knows when to throw the right pitch. He's just one of those people that he got a little bit of a higher ERA because of when you're down 8 against Wishbone or Spaceman in the XBL, sure, you're going to throw a little bit more meatballs because you stop caring. But when he's in the AAA and he's in all of these games, you can guarantee like he's a Von Asen level pitcher. And then his bat is going to obviously improve as the ego is lower. And then like we talked about, he caught fire at the perfect time last time. And that's just something Dwayne's going to carry on. Dwayne is, I mean, I'm sorry, AAA. It honestly sucks for AAA that Dwayne is back down there, because he's going to be a problem.
I appreciate the kind words. I just intend to rake, and that's usually the type of thing that does you well in the XBL and whichever league you're in. So we'll see how it all shapes up as the season goes on. You know, I finished 10th in the standings, but won the season that I played. So, you know, again, I have to go through players like Clutch, like Ed, like Mystery Man, like No Name, and the countless other people that we just went through that are gonna bite you in the ankles. So you cannot ever rest on anything or any type of game in the AAA. That's what makes it very exciting, as Uni's definitely stated in the past too. So nice job, guys. And let's go ahead and wake our man Zlot up as we can take it now to the XBL season preview in the power rankings. This is an exciting part of the show, and we're checking out the bottom right now with Teflon Don and Billy Banquo.
Me first, Lap?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, Mighty Mallards, I'm so glad to see them back. All right, first off, this is my league, so I want to see all these people come back. Billy is someone that was really quiet in the offseason, and I was worried about him. Then he hit us with that late submission, hit him with the... I can't say it right now. It's a Wolf of Wall Street quote, but he's not leaving. All right, he's back, and Billy is an absolute master at the plate. He had to adjust to the ego last season, but he's going to be fine. His pitching location really improved. When I played him in the middle of last season, I thought his location was really quite good. It was more about when he threw certain pitches. It wasn't the right time. Then Teflon, he's had a season in the XBL. He also updated his logo. He's got, I don't know if that's a frat that he's got on his logo or if that's some sort of like Spanish, I don't know. I'm sure it's deep. Teflon's a big brain guy. He's been in the XBL before. Only went 4-32, but it was a lot of close games for Teflon, and his fielding is actually top end, like very top-notch fielding. He had a lot of highlight reel plays last year on the roundup shows. It's going to be Teflon's bat. If Teflon's able to get his bat adjusted to the ego, his pitching is going to be fine, and his fielding is going to be superb. So Teflon is the type of player that, even though he's ranked 19 right now, it's really true for both of these guys. Even though they're ranked 19 and 20, they're people that can get in to the playoffs in one of those lower seeds.
Yeah, well said. I think I'd agree with all those points. I think Billy just kind of needs to work on the strikeouts. He had the second highest strikeout per 9 rate in the XBL last season, which is to be expected as a AAA player entering their first XBL season. I mean, it's just that hitting adjustment. You can't really do it that quickly. You got to put the time in, and it'll take time as well. So now that he's got his first XBL season under his belt, I expect us to see quite the improvement for Billy. The pitching is also going to need some improvement, but the jury's out on that. We'll see how that goes. And then, as you mentioned, Teflon and his bat, I mean, there's a lot to be scared of. Finishing in second in the AAA last season, put up some, really, really high offensive output, and they can also pitch as well. So super interested to see how their season carries out.
Yeah, these two players, definitely have a lot to prove, but there's nothing, in their way that's saying that they can't do it, especially, when you're fighting amongst your peers down here at rank 16, 17, and 18. We've got Ice, Black Coffee, and Dynasty, and we've got a total switch up from Coffee on the logo. Grandmasters Baseball, sticking with the chess vibe, I can dig it. And then we've got the return of Ty and his Tyrannics, and then Ice making the jump up to the XBL. Long awaited, and I think well deserved.
Yeah, Dynasty in here, very, very similar to Coffee, very similar to Snowbird, very similar to Billy. Really, really strong hitter, but still working on his pitching. Now in his third XBL season, we know what he did in the AAA. It was no fun for anybody to face him in the AAA. It was really almost impossible to hold him under like 7 or 8 runs. And Dynasty, he really hits plenty well in the XBL. He scored almost almost 6 per game last season, and those are great numbers. That's better numbers than I had, I believe. I was the 8 seed and I scored a whole run less than him, which just highlights the fact that he's got to get his pitching down. I think he plays a lot of a lot of CPU games, which will completely change your pitching perspective. If Dynasty's able to get his pitching just middle of the pack, he's going to be a top 10 seed sort of player. Black Coffee, like you noted, Dwayne, he's got a completely different logo. He's not the banjos anymore. I love the banjos. I rock with the chess too. I don't understand it at all. I played chess the other day for the first time, and I tried to move my horse, and it was doing some funky shit, dude. So I don't understand it at all, but I understand one thing, and it's that Coffee absolutely rakes. And in the AAA, he was the Lombalo last season. Super good player. I believe he was talking about improving his setup as well, which only bodes well. So you're looking at Coffee as a very Billy Snowbird-esque player. It's all about his pitching. He's going to be able to hit, but it's all about how can he pitch. And Coffee's got enough years in the league that I think he's going to be a quicker adjuster than some of these other players. Then you got Burning Ice here at 16. This is purely because of his pitching. We have that much respect for Burning Ice's pitching that he's able to get up here to 16 with no XBL experience, because he's got such a interesting pitch style, and his location is so crisp that you're not going to get pitches to hit hardly ever. It's all about his batting. If he's able to get a runner or two on base, he's almost guaranteed a small ball, something across. But how consistently can you do that at the XBL level against players who have all these tricks in their bag? So I'm rooting for Burning Ice, except for on Match of the Week. I would assume they're going to let me just absolutely murder Burning Ice. But the rest of the season, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, what a trio of players and teams here. All the AAA accolades galore here. We have Dynasty set those, offensive records back in season 16 in the AAA. Still kind of getting things under his belt, but he's a lethal bat still. It's just like you said, the pitching. He needs to try to figure out what he can shake up and improve on, but definitely a force to be reckoned with when he's on a good day. Coffee, kind of a similar thing, although I would say his pitching was better than Dynasty's at the AAA level. Interested to see how that'll play out at the XBL level now, but of course all those accolades, known for putting up tons and tons of runs. Even just last season was averaging 12 runs per 9 innings. So just insane offense. Excited to see how that plays out at the XBL level. And then we have Ice coming in hot off of their AAA World Series victory. The pitching, I fully expect to be lethal and dangerous, kind of poisonous, just getting people to strike out or swing at goofy stuff. But he's also going to be facing higher talent or people that are, more used to the hitting ego, and so I don't know that he's going to be able to get away with as many tricks. Going to have to see how he kind of adjusts his roster and game plan to that XBL ego, but super excited to see how all three of these guys perform.
Yeah, there's a lot to look for here in this crew, a lot of improvement to be made. Definitely going to be some playoff bubble type energy and some big games late in the season. And you're going to have to expect it's going to be against the type of players we talk about moving on up to ranks 13, 14, and 15. We've got Dark Raider, the GOAT, and the Harfang making the reappearance, as well as Snowbird and the Black Roses, followed up by One Boy and the Bay Area Bombers. All a ton of familiarity here.
Yeah, some people that have been in the league for a long time. So good to see One Boy back. I think he's playing on a GameCube or a brick or something. He's got some sort of setup, but it works well enough. Hey, One Boy, if you're in here, remember the Alamo, baby. I want One Boy to absolutely pop off as my fellow Texas brother back in the XBL. 9-25 really doesn't show how good of a player One Boy is. One Boy is an excellent hitter. His pitching, he's aware, so I can say it. It's quite cheeks. He's got to work on his pitching a little bit. He's very much like Snowbird ahead of him, where he can mash, but the pitching has to be improved. He's got good starters, though. Like, build-wise, he has great starters from what I've seen. So I think that itself might be able to get him into the playoffs, and when you get him in the playoffs, he's the type of player that can hit well enough to make it a series. Snowbird's someone I expect to really improve this season. Played her first XBL season last year, and 10-24 is a very respectable record in your first XBL season. After she abused the AAA, she was moved up, rightfully so, and I would only expect improvement out of her because her pitching, we know she can hit. We know she can hit. That's very well known. But her pitching really started to get a lot better last season. I actually ended up playing her like 4 times because we would get 5 or 6 innings into a game and just restart because of a DC. And I could tell, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have restarted because she's actually really good. So both One Boy and Meg Snowbird, I would expect to be playoff type of players and not just barely in the playoffs, like 2 weeks away, rightfully in the playoffs. Then you got Dark Raider, he's Dark Raider, does the same thing all the time, pitches exceptionally well, plays that shaka, makes it really dirty, mucks it up, and makes it hard for you to get more than 2 or 3 runs. And if he can get 2 or 3 runs, a lot of times you're taking the L, and that's just how Raider plays. Him and Burning Ice, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how similar their stats add up because of how great of a pitcher both of them are and how they both kind of have the same struggles at the plate. So I think those two are eerily similar, but Dark Raider's got the the years of experience. It's his 7th season in the XBL. I mean, he's someone that causes fits for the entire league when you play him.
Yeah, all three of these players have very potent strengths and weaknesses. I don't know a ton about One Boy. I am aware of his elite hitting. It's just like you mentioned, the pitching that he'd probably hope to improve on the most, just dotting corners and things. So hoping to see some resurgence there from the Bay Area Bombers. The Black Roses here with Snowbird, as you mentioned, super solid performance in their rookie season, finishing 10-24. Good enough to make the playoffs as well, right? Going out to Spaceman, who, of course, we all know went on to win the whole thing. So a tough draw there. And personally, I remember our regular season series, she lost 2 heartbreakers to me. One was in extras on a defensive gaff, and the other one I think was just like a walk-off of some kind. Either way, it was like 9-10 inning games in both of them. So super solid player. Always, like I said earlier, like other players, just able to play till that final out, never gives up. So I expect to see an offensive increase from Meg, and we're going to have to see how that shakes out. I believe she plays at Founders. Going to have to see if that remains the same this season. Moving on over to Raider, of course. I think Raider got the better of me last season. He broke my heart with I think a 1-0 walk-off at Shaka. That was just devastating. So I'm fully aware of his pitching style, and it definitely gives fits and problems to any player in the XBL. So super excited to see how they improve, and I also expect to see a better offense this time around. I know they kind of changed the roster a little bit last season, boosting some hitting stuff, and that really kind of worked out. They made the playoffs as well. So just super solid teams here, really all the way through the league. Expecting to see a lot of great parity again, so just happy to see all these people returning.
Yeah, always a ton of love to get the veterans in here. Always makes the season spicy and definitely makes these predictions a little bit more interesting as we move up and down the board, and, you know, seeing who fits where and how that all works out. And as we move into 10, 11, and 12, this is touching on the XBL's top 10, and we see an appearance of both of our guys right here with us that are going to go over it. We got Uni and Zlot sandwiching the man himself, No Hummus and his Stags. Tons of familiarity over here.
Look at that, an entire slide of casters, dude. This is
that's kind of crazy.
It's not rigged at all. Slide, bro. Aren't we all so mid, boys? We're so mid. But we got Zlatan here, and when you look at all the leagues, but really XBL especially, there's a lot of little pockets where like maybe 12 through 20 is kind of in their own skill range, then 10 through 5 is in their own, and then you got 4 players that are really good. I would say from 13 to 20, all of those players right now are kind of in their pocket, where they're all fighting for those last 3 or 4 spots in the playoffs. And I think this slide is where you see that cutoff. Zlat, I think, is ahead above those players we saw above him, which makes sense because of the ranking, obviously. He just won a cup. This guy just won the XBL Cup. He's an excellent pitcher, and he's someone that when he gets on fire at the plate, he gets on fire. Like, he makes it very difficult, and he really introduces the power threat at the plate. Does Zlat whenever he's feeling it at the plate. Pitching's always going to be there. So Zlat's somebody that can easily move up from 12. It's all about consistency with him. That 10 and 24 record, it really doesn't show how good of a player he is. It's just a matter of what time do you catch him at, the peak or the valley. And 93 is going to be an adjustment, but he's someone that he practices. He's going to be fine. Hummus is honestly kind of my kryptonite. I'm surprised to see myself above him because my first XBL set, this dude, I think beat me like 35-0 and made me feel really bad and have me mentally distraught. Hummus is an absolute masher at the plate. He can bomb on you, and he's also got some starters that are extremely strong, and he knows how to pitch with them. And he's in his 13th XBL season, which is so many seasons. And Hummus took that break last season. A lot of times when people take a little break, we saw it from Ox. When they come back, they're a lot better with that mental refresh. And I think we might see that out of Hummus. He had a solid cup. And now in the XBL, where he's really ran into a lot of titans in the playoffs that really, quite frankly, none of us would have beaten. People like Lazy. If Hummus gets into the playoffs now, he's got a lot more of a shot against anyone in this field. And I no doubt expect him to be over 500. I don't think that 18 and 18 record really means that much. He's going to be 5 or 6 games over 500 in my book. Other than me, I was 8 seed last year. They're hating on me, put me at 10. Very well deserved, though. I'm really not that good. Super mid. But, I mean, my goal last year was to be a home seed. I did it. My first year's goal was to make the playoffs. I did it. My goal this year is to make the semifinals. We'll see if I can do it. It's a really tough field, so I'm not going to be upset if I don't, but I think it's good to set high bars. And they've got my old logo on there. I have blue now. Come on, guys. Where's the blue at? I'm just kidding, Wishbone. I know I didn't send it to you. But I haven't won a playoff game yet, so we'll see how it goes. Hoping for a good year.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I think Wish has my updated logo for the cup, but not in this, so I'm not sure what's going on there. It's all good. But I'll keep on that tangent. I think you and I both are in that club of making the playoffs and not having a playoff win. So I would love to make this season the first where we break that streak and we finally see some success in the playoffs. As you mentioned, thank you for the kind words. I was able to come out on top here for the cup this offseason. And on that path, I did find Hummus. He just caught me at the wrong time. Like you said, I'm a bit of a peaks and valleys player. I try to, really trying to improve the consistency at the plate, but yeah, he just caught me at the wrong time. We'll have to see how that plays out in the regular season. Hummus is an experienced veteran of the league, 13 seasons now, just really deadly at the plate and really strong on the mound. So I don't know exactly what, if it's a consistency thing for him as well, or just running into the wrong people at the wrong time, but hashtag lazy. But yeah, we know that Hummus can be a strong player. And of course, Unicorn had a great start to their XBL career here. You're coming into your 3rd season now, and you've made the playoffs in both of your seasons already. So like I said, hoping to get that first playoff series victory, game victory, etc. I think we have a lot to improve upon, and there's a lot of playoff expectations to be realized. So it's a great group of 3 here.
Yeah, really impressed with this crew, and I think there's going to be a ton of improvement. Look at that live update on your logo. You get what you ask for around this joint, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, professional. Oh my goodness.
What a go. What changed?
A wizard.
What even changed?
He's a wizard. You got rid of the little, you tell him.
Yeah, just the tech. Just kind of cleaned it up a little bit.
Doesn't even know, bro. He doesn't even know, bro.
I know, I saw it go away. All right.
So dope, Flat. So dope, bro.
You got the
yeah,
new
yours
logo.
is still purple though. No love for uni.
You should have just changed it to Rick's logo so we look
Ever
at that
since
again.
I had
That
that
would be
big 9-run comeback.
Let's see the Rick's logo.
cool. Let's move up the board now to 7, 8, and 9. Ooh, we got some big dogs in here as the dog pound makes an appearance, sandwiched by Flash and Ted. What a crew. Uni, you're
chatting. Y'all know how I am. Yeah, Ted in here at rank 9. I mean, Ted's one of those players that he's played for so long, and he really is the player that he is. And the player that he is good. It's not the top end, but he's always good. And he's one of those players that he's gonna, when he makes it to the playoffs, he's not gonna go down easily because he's able to play consistent. Ted is a very consistent player from what I've seen. He's got the Von Asen under his belt, and 17-17 record. I think when he took that break and came back, he had a little bit of a down season last season, which is why you see him ranked up here in the top 10 instead of lower, despite his record. Ted's going to be just fine, and his pitching really is quite underrated, I think, as well. He can cause fits on the mound. I think he actually pushed Flash, if I'm not wrong. I think it was Flash to a full series in the playoffs last year. Then M. Bennings, who the dog pound really spouted off on me in general one day, just absolutely destroyed my entire ego, which was very, I mean, it was rightfully so. He swept me in the playoffs, and M. Bennings can do that type of stuff to you. It seems like M. Bennings, as of late, has really found his bat a lot better than it was before. He's an extremely good pitcher. Everyone knows he's a good pitcher. When I would think of his pitching, I think of it a lot like Mush, the way he's able to locate really well with the changeup, and he's just got a nice pitcher's mindset and a good job of adjusting quickly, and that's why you see him as a Cup champion. He's got the Von Asen in the AAA, and Benning is someone that out of these last few 8 to 12 or so, I think he's the most likely to get into the top 5 by the end of the season if he's able to hit the way I've been seeing him hit lately. Then Flash, this is probably the lowest we've seen Flash ever ranked in a preseason. He's got 4 or 5 championships under his belt. Last season was really a down year for Flash. 20-14 is just not what you expect from a player like him. I mean, he was losing to the likes of the Unicorns. Are you serious? Those dudes are trash. And he finds himself at 7 because he was losing to teams like that, but beating the top teams. And if you want to get into the top 5, you kind of have to abuse those lower teams from 10 and down. And that's just not something he did at the same clip that he did in the previous seasons. Flash is going to be just fine. He's still a top 5 player. It's just that the parity at the top of the XBL has grown so much that people have caught up to Flash in terms of skill. So it's not as easy as it used to be, possibly, to get into that top 5 or 6 range.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with pretty much everything you said there. We know Ted is a 500 dog as his floor. Excuse me. He's got some accolades there from prior seasons of the past, but he's also boasting a positive career record, and we just know that his bat can pop off at any time. So I think his floor is really strong and places him well here at number 9. We also then have another dog in M. Bennings, literally. He's won a cup. He was runner-up in a cup. He ran into Spliff this past cup. He is all about the offseason, but also in the regular season, he really competes and grinds games out. He's not known for his bat as much. He's definitely known for his prowess on the mound, but he can also put runs up when he needs to. He can kind of clean up those bottom table teams. And that's exactly what you need to have a mid-table, a middle seed to get a decent opponent entering the playoffs. And then, of course, Flash, I'm not gonna bash him as much as Uni did, but I do know that Flash would probably agree he had, you know, an unsuccessful season, especially by his own expectations last, here in season 18. He's going to definitely look to improve upon that. He finished 7th overall, but as you mentioned, he was splitting the top teams. He was getting wins off of them. He just couldn't clean it up at the bottom. And so I think it's fair for him to be at 7 here, but he has a lot of veteran experience. He knows what it takes to win championships. He has 4 of them himself. He just needs to find that resurgence and kind of get that motivation entering the season, get some strong wins, and then get the job done at the bottom. So I think he's capable of doing that.
All 3 of these players capable of doing a ton of damage, come late season, come playoff time, whether it's to your dreams or on the way to their, to theirs, or just knocking you out of, off your pedestal. We'll see what comes for them as everything develops, and we're going to take it into now the XBL's top 6. We're getting short and towards the end of the rankings now, as Mama Junjun and the Civilization, Mush and the Curse, and Pizza Volcano all make an appearance, and we've got some improved logos here in the mix as well. This is some really good looking stuff.
Yeah, talk about the meat. This is where the meat is. I would say the parity of the XBL stretches now into, I would like to say, the 10 range, because I'm cocky and there's 10 players that kind of have a chance now. But when you really get into this top 7 range, going from Flash up, these are the players that no matter what, you've got to count them in as a chance to win the title. And Pizza is very much one of those players. Pizza was second in the long ball, though. Really, when it came to Pizza, was just unlucky, honestly. They just matched up against Spaceman in the first round. They were up 2-0, and Spaceman had that reverse sweep. And I'm very much of a believer that if Pizza didn't get beat by Space in that first round, Pizza would have been in the championship. And I think Pizza could have won the championship. Wishbone is a very good player, but Pizza is good enough to win in this league. And now back-to-back seasons playing means Pizza's going to be more locked in than ever before, and you cannot leave a meatball on the plate to Pizza. I learned that very quickly last season, that they absolutely destroy any weak pitch, so your pitching has to be absolutely on point, because Pizza's going to pitch just fine, but that bat is on another level. Then Mush, updated logo. I don't know how I feel about it. I'll give it, I won't even rank it Mush, it's fine. It's a cool logo, bro. Cool logo. Mush, just 2 seasons ago, had a 6-game series against Lazy in the championship. Mush, after that season, we really expected high things from him last year in the playoffs, and Mush didn't absolutely live up, or he didn't necessarily live up to those standards. But those standards were set by us because of how impressive he was the season before, and his regular season really followed it up with a 24-10 record. He's a Von Asen level pitcher, and his bat, he's a dot hitter, a dot swinger, but contact, which is maybe one of a kind in terms of approach at the plate, because you can't get anything by this guy. When you're a dot swinger, usually the issues those people have is velo mix-up, but you take that out of the equation when you're a contact swinger. So being dot contact swing makes Mush incredibly hard to lock down over the course of 9 innings, and that's what makes him a hard out in the playoffs, and that's what makes him a top 5 player. And so Mush is someone that rightfully so is in the top 5, and I think is going to remain there. Then you got Mama Junjun with, I believe this is his SM&L rendition of his logo, where he just, it looks like maybe switched up his colors. I love it. I think the logo's dope. Mama Junjun is one of those players that every year we put him up there and we say, this is Mama Junjun's year, bro. He's totally got it. He's totally got it. Then when it comes to the playoffs, it's hard for him to get through, because you start running into those players that are on the same level as the Civilization, and he's one of those players that are really good at beating up on the lower end teams, but you've got to be able to last an entire series against teams that are in the top 5, top 3, and Junjun is well aware of that. I mean, it might be a good omen for him. The White Sox won their first and possibly only game of the season today, so carry that good mojo over into this weekend, and let's see Mama Junjun mash this year, because everyone's always rooting for him, especially with that updated logo.
Yeah, just some elite players here. Pizza, maybe arguably the best dot hitter in the league at the moment. I think I personally had them winning the long ballo in my voting last season, but they came out second. And part of the reason I voted them so high, of course, is the home runs that they were able to put up, but also just their BABIP. They were hitting a league-leading .442 in BABIP. So you could argue, a little bit of bad luck to not get some of those closer games to go their way. There is the ugly reverse sweep that Spaceman was able to pull out in the playoffs. And so all of that to say, I think Pizza is going to be on a mission this season. They have everything going for them. Maybe clean up a little bit of the pitching, but I don't know if they can improve on the hitting, honestly. I think it was just elite, and we're going to expect to see more of the same hitting-wise from them this time around. And then we move on to Mush and the Curse. Just a solid, really balanced player. Doesn't make many mistakes. As you said, they're more of a contact hitter. And they seem to get on base pretty reliably. So you just really have to be on your A game to have a chance against Mush and the Curse. I think they have a great shot to make a deep run. And of course, Mama Junjun and the Civ. A lot of these players even could really be ranked anywhere from 1 through 6, in my opinion. So to see Mama Junjun at 4, that's fine, but we know what he's capable of. As you said, he kind of has preseason expectations put on him, and then falls a bit short come playoff time. So he's got to get that monkey off his back and really kind of get the offensive things to be more consistent. He just came off of Von Asen from last season, so now it's really truly just the offense and kind of the games against the top teams, just being more consistent overall. So I'm excited to see how these guys play out.
Tons of potential here to go all the way the distance. Each one of these players has nearly touched a World Series, so you'd have to think that they're well overdue. So let's hope that we can see some action from them come playoff time. But now we have the final 3 players in all of our rankings, all the way at the top of the XBL, about to be revealed. And following that, we're going to go into the opening night matches. So don't step away. It's going to be an exciting rest of the show as we move into that and what else we have for you. So let's check out the top 3 in the XBL. Without further ado, it is 1, 2, and 3. We've got Ox and the Holograms making an appearance here in the top 3. Wishbone above him at number 2, and the champion Spaceman at rank number 1. You got a World Series rematch right there at 1 and 2. And Ox, he's been on a rapid path of improvement.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. First off, what a group we have here. I mean, absolute dogs. Best players in the game right now. Ox, when you look at his career record, only 30 wins over 500. He had to have been right at 500 or well under going into 2 or 3 seasons ago, because it's back-to-back seasons now that the Holograms have been really strong top 5 team. I think they were even the 2 seed, not last season, but the season before. 28-6 record. The good thing about Ox, what really separates him, is his baseball IQ and the way he's able to quickly adjust, and the way he really does not allow many shenanigans at all when it comes to the game. You're not going to be able to get any funky steals and things like that on him. He's got such a good baseball IQ, and he's a consistent batter. So the Holograms were in the semifinals last season, and there's only room for improvement for them as they keep doing it year after year. And I would expect the same going into season 19. And then you got Wishbone, who's really kind of on that same card, where he's just constantly improved, and he worked his way up from quarterfinals to semifinals. So now he was in the championship. And if y'all watched that championship in season 18, he got beat 4-1, but 3 of those losses were by 1 run. And that just shows how close he was, how different of a series that could have been with just 1 or 2 different bounces of the ball. And Wishbone is someone that's got so many Von Asens. He's got 3 Von Asens in the XBL, but he added a lot of hitting to his lineup compared to before, and that really bode well for him and the Astronauts last season, as he was able to couple that pitching with excellent batting. And Wishbone is someone you have to expect to be a lock in the semifinals, if not possibly a lock in the championship. His only kryptonite is me. Everyone else he's pretty good against. Then you got Spaceman, obviously won the championship. He's like a second coming of Lazy because his bat is absurd. He was rookie of the year his first season, and then he played the next season, and most improved player. So that, if that's not a skyward trajectory on growth in the XBL, I don't know what is. He's got in his second season a trophy after he's got 3 or 4 awards already now after 2 seasons in the XBL, and now going into his 3rd season, gonna be no fun to face at all. As someone that you have to just like Wishbone, you really have to key him in for the semifinals unless they get an unfortunate matchup in those early rounds against someone that's underseeded. Spaceman is someone that's going to have a high seed, and he's going to be able to march pretty easily into those semifinal rounds. And his bat alone is scary, but his pitching really improved to Von Asen level by the time playoffs came around, and that's what the difference was that got him the trophy, was the way he was able to really dial in that pitching to go along with his bat. And that's what you got to have in the XBL. If you're going to win the top trophy in the league, the top competitive league in the world, you've got to be able to pitch and you got to be able to hit. And that's what Spaceman really did last season in the playoffs.
Yeah, Ox, like you said, he's just so close to making that World Series final. He and Wish are looking to become the first Triple A and XBL champions. Ox also even has a AA champion under his belt, so that could also be added to the list. But yeah, he's just looking to get that next step. That's really all that's missing, is that World Series appearance. We know what he's capable of. He's shown it now the past few seasons. Really linear, solid improvement in his career. And so this could potentially be the season of the Hollows. Time will tell. We have the Astronauts, of course, fell a bit short there to Spaceman and his spokesman in the World Series. A great series, and as you mentioned, it was super close, even though it was 4-1. Those one-run games were the difference maker. We know that Wishbone had an incredibly strong regular season in Season 18. He and Ox were not swept during the regular season. The only two teams in the XBL who achieved that feat. And I think that Wishbone is absolutely going to be burning to get back into that World Series and etch their name into the trophy once and for all, because they were so close they could taste it, and they just came up that much short against Spaceman, who, as you see, Spaceman, people, let's not forget, Spaceman was Rookie of the Year in Season 17. And then he won the whole freaking thing in Season 18. That is insane. His bat's insane. His pitching is great. I don't know what else I could say to someone to improve on to that just won a World Series. But whatever it is, if he's able to do it, I think he's a lock to get it again. Just an insane performance, and a great group of three again here. I think we're looking for a lot of parity across the league, and we're going to have an enjoyable Season 19 on our hands.
Yeah, it looks to be so. All three leagues are stacked top to bottom. You guys had some really great stuff about our top three here in the XBL. Really look forward to seeing their performance here at the top of the game with all the best in the world. And that means that's all of you from the top to the bottom in the AA, AAA, and the XBL. All y'all the best in the world at this Super Mega Baseball game. It's pretty exciting to get to be here and get to profile all of that with y'all. But now let's get into some extracurriculars. Now we're going to flip things over and talk a little bit about what we've got going on this weekend. We've got our opening day. So opening day is a triple header. We've got games at 5 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. Eastern. That 5 p.m. is actually pushed to 5:30. So if anything pushes slightly, we'll just be eyes out for that. But yeah, 3 games, triple header coming at you on Saturday. And after those games conclude, we're all free reign to play ours. So without further ado, we're going to start off with the AA matchups of the week. And this reveals our opening day matchup in AA. Not a huge list right now. All of these are put as reserve, as we will be placing AA matchups throughout the season into the schedule. So week 1, we've got Jay opening up against Malik Dragonborn. 2 big veteran players. It's going to be really exciting. What do you think, guys? Mystery Man?
I love this matchup. This is fantastic. This is an opportunity, I think, for J3 to express a little bit of dominance, because Malik has been that really streaky but deadly, I think, AA player that's playing, I think, on a lower ego than J3. So J3, who I thought would be in AAA this season, needs to take care of business against a really tough customer.
Anyone else want to weigh in on this one?
Yeah, I think obviously we'll see how the matchups go throughout the season. As like you said, we kind of place these and piece them together as we go. But I think a really fun one would be Spartacus versus Spongehog, because they've both been in for a few seasons now. They both play at the lower end of the ego, but they're both respectable players. And that would be one of those matchups where they're quite even on the ego at the lower end, but both have a lot of experience in the league, and I think that would bring us a lot of tightly contested games if we saw a set between them.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff. We do kind of have to get a little freeform here with this one. But do we have anything to add from Zlatanable before we move on to the AAA?
The only thing I might suggest, which is more of a casting channel discussion, but it might be kind of cool since we know the AA season is a little lower in player pool compared to the other leagues. It'd be pretty cool if we could try to line up their match of the weeks to kind of be some of the like group play or round robin matches. I don't know if it'll work out time-wise that way, but we'll revisit that as we get closer.
I can dig it. We're always open to something, interesting, especially in the AA where things are kind of like a wild west of experimentation. It's definitely an exciting idea. We'll look into some more stuff for you guys as we move into the season. And now we'll flip over to AAA where we'll see our opening night matchup and the rest of the set schedule for our 7 weeks. And here it is. We've got on the 29th starting off at 5:30 p.m. It is going to be Fireball Max versus Ricks, a big matchup here in the AAA, and all the way down the list you can see the matchups that are set. It's really, really exciting this season.
The first one that caught my eye when I looked at it is talk about OG, Dwayne versus Eduardo. Dudes have like 20 combined seasons minimum, surely, in the league, and talk about the trash talk that's going to be spoken before that sort of matchup between these two. Talk about, oh, you cook your steak well done. Oh, well, you're from Detroit. We're going to see some excellent stuff from those two in the general chat before. Then not only is it going to be awesome trash talk, those two are going to give us insane games because those were both top 3 ranked players in our AAA preseason ranks. There's so many good matchups down here because the AAA's parity is always insane. But that one right there, OG, I love it.
Yeah, I like the Spliff Star Heisman matchup. That one, it looks really good. I like Corny versus Rise because Rise is not going to let him off the hook. We know that Corn can mash a meatball. I think that's a good matchup. Obviously, Dwayne and Ed is good. J Ace against Skull is actually kind of a similar matchup. Yeah, I don't like playing against No Name. I'm the king of falling asleep at the wheel on base runners, so I do have a few tricks up my sleeve as far as how to control the run game. But I obviously will forget those come match of the week.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Mist and his Margs are effective against the tricks that No Name will come up with, I'm sure, for a match of the week. But my match to highlight is Julio Aces and Skull. I think it's going to be really exciting to see how Skull kind of starts the season off there. It's going to be week 2, and Julio's bat has been on fire in scrims, so that's a really spicy one for me.
I got my eyes on you, Eduardo. I'm going to be coming for the meat. Eduardo's crisp sirloin is what I'm coming for. So we'll see what happens this season in the AAA. Let's check out the XBL. We've got our opening night matchup between Pizza Volcano and Spaceman Spumoni. Yeah, I definitely gaffed myself there, but it's all right. You could save that for the chat. But we've got a really good schedule here. Uni, you can start. Go ahead.
Can I wait for it to pop up at least? Okay, there it is. Well, so am I. Oh no, they gave me Burning Ice. No, dude, but that's the first one because I went straight to who's got the all capital name. It's got you. Oh no, not Burning Ice. Dude's gonna give me 45 straight curveballs on the upper corner, and it's gonna be zero fun. I can see Wishbone's dodging me, per usual, throwing me up against ice, but he left himself in the reserve. Very interesting, Wishbone. Very interesting. Very interesting, because the knots, I would say, are quite mid, do I say. But there's so many matchups with the XBL's increase in parity the last couple seasons. Like, you could really point any of these out. Teflon and Black Coffee right there too. That's going to be a type of game where they're battling for that last playoff spot. But there's so much stuff on here. Ice, I'm sorry, buddy. I will make any bet you want. I will. You know what? I'll call it right now. If I don't sweep you, I will name a starter on my team Burning Ice. How about that? If I don't sweep you, I will name a starter Burning Ice.
Yeah, I think the Hollows already have one of those, but I'm going to go through this one by one because this is absolutely nuts. So we got Pizza versus Space. That was basically, that was a Mexican standoff, I believe, in the quarterfinals last season. I love Billy versus Dark Raider. That's a perfect test for Billy. If Billy survives that test, y'all in big trouble. M. Bennings and Ox is the battle of the pitchers. I think that's a really good matchup. It's just going to be if Ox can hit. Mama done dirty here. Mama was supposed to be week 1, and now he's stuck against Mush, which I know he hates. Dynasty versus Snow is an absolute classic AAA matchup. I think this is right when Snow is coming to fruition. Was the season that Dynasty took off, and then Snowbird was the following season. So that's a really good matchup. Ice Unicorn, I'm 50-50 on that. I like Unicorn's offense recently, so normally I would go Ice here because I'm gonna go pitcher, but I'm gonna go Split. And then, as much as I love Teflon, that's an easy sweep for Cough.
All right, so we have our Uni stealing the mic WWE moment and just talking trash to his opponent. We have Mist going off track and literally going through every week by week matchup. I love it. I'm just going to stick to my script here and stick with the one match to highlight. I'm going to go with the coveted Pizza and Spaceman fireworks show in week 1. What a way to start the season here. Just two people absolutely hitting home runs. I feel like we might see like 20 plus runs in a single game, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's a ton of power potential in that one and all over the board, really. This is a really exciting crew of XBL matches of the week. And what we have in reserve in case anyone falls out or can't make it or we need anything extra, we'll be able to mix something up with that too. So really exciting here on the match of the week schedule. As you already saw, the house is popping. The Hog is back. We are live, the House of Gambling. Go back over there and get involved on the first matches this season that are coming up on Saturday. Again, 5:30 Eastern, 7 Eastern, and 9 Eastern. Flip that to Pacific, Central, however you got to cut it. Be there, be square. But yeah, now we're going to take it on over to our Season 19 Hot Takes. And let's take a gander here as I quickly fix that title at the top because that is something I forgot to edit. We've got Sham starting us off. We've got our casters who are not here with us in person tonight at the top of the list, and us here that are here down towards the bottom. But we'll start off with Sham. No one drops, and we see a repeat champion. I think we can all hope for that, that no one drops. And a repeat champion, that's, it can be something that's a given and something that's not quite a given, depending on how things go. Anyone got anything to shout out on that?
Yeah, I'd say when it comes to the repeat, not super hot because you've got Prez still in the AA, you've got Dwayne yourself coming back to the AAA, and then you got Spaceman still in the XBL. But when you talk about no drops, that would be the best hot take to come to fruition out of any of these because we're tired of people dropping. Don't drop or I'm going to find you. We need no drops, okay? We got 57 people in here. Let's keep 57 people going into the season, and season 19 will be popping.
Anyone else, or are we moving on? All right.
Just in general for all the hot takes, or about Sham's hot
I was gonna move on to MJ's. I don't know if we
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. We'll move on to MJ's, where every award's gonna be won by a first-time winner. So we'll all have brand new hardware in all leagues, AA, AAA, and XBL. So brand new hardware holders. No one who's won a Von Asen, no one who's won a Long Ballo, no one who's won a Most Improved. Would be super exciting, especially for some of our new people, you'd have to think. Anyone got something on this one?
Yeah, I think Spliffy won a Von Asen already. I could be wrong, but if so, I think Spliffy is going to win the AAA.
No, I was just asking about MJ's hot take there as a whole. Do you think he's gonna every award is gonna be won by a first-time winner in all the leagues, or you think that's a little hot?
No, I think it's wrong because I think Spliffy is gonna repeat.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, you think it's just that clean cut.
So wrong.
He thinks it's that clean cut. It's a given. Spliff, we might as well hand it to him now. Which I think Spliff's hot take kind of agrees with. Every award's gonna get won by a repeat winner. He's probably already got himself marked off for that Von Asen.
True.
What do you think about that? Nothing too crazy there. All right, Zlat, then you can kind of elaborate a little bit more on your rookie champion, new non-rookie champion, someone who hasn't won before, and a repeat champion across all 3 leagues. What's your expectation there?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I don't know if it's spicy. I don't know. I was just trying to come up with something different, but if it plays out such that across all 3 leagues, we see exactly one rookie champion, a veteran or non-rookie champion, and a repeat champion, I feel like that's, I don't know, that's kind of just a cherry on top of a special season that we could all share. I think having rookie champions is always exciting. It's probably the most likely for the AA, but who knows? I don't know. I think that's just kind of a fun little twist that we could see play out.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, it has a high chance of happening, believe it or not. It may not be in the 50% range, but it's definitely not it's more than non-zero. It's in the greater realm of possibility, but not the hottest, or not like something that's also, it's really just a really good, unique type of take here. Something that we will be able to follow up on later come the season. So we'll check in on that. And then I've got there will be an undefeated team. We haven't seen an undefeated regular season team in quite a long time since it's, I believe, am I wrong calling back to Seaman, or am I missing somebody?
No, you're not wrong, but we're not gonna get an undefeated player.
You don't think that?
No.
Are you gonna beat me in the AAA?
No, nobody's gonna lose less than 5 games.
That could be I don't know about that. That's a hot take right there too.
It's a hot take for a reason, because I think this is probably the most unlikely of the 3, just because the way the parity is now. You would normally expect something like this in the AAA or the XBL from people that are, consistently really good in those leagues. AA always has a lot of turnover, but with the parity that's in the XBL and AAA now, Dwayne, if you don't do it yourself, I don't know who's gonna do this. Hot take, bro.
Without Lazy, I don't know who's gonna carry the torch.
Who do you think I had in mind?
Me.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, definitely for sure.
J3.
Yeah. Well, that's for AA. Yeah, that definitely J3 in the AA. You think he's not going undefeated?
Yeah. Who do you have in mind?
It's weird because if you play well, you get shafted by your ego.
It might be no name.
You always get the double-edged
sword. It could be no name
sword.
if he gets going. Maybe he's practicing.
Yeah, no name
J3 goes
me,
undefeated.
so.
He's gonna be on 94 ego.
See, this worked. This was a good hot take. All right, good, nice. Thanks, guys. Anyway, Uni, you're predicting the Von Asen winners. Well, Spliff already predicted himself. Let's see if you're aligned in the AAA, and then spread out from there.
Aligned in the AAA? Well, I do have Spliff in the AAA because he's always right there. But Burning Ice existed as well, and Burning Ice was just a little bit better of a pitcher, and Spliff's right there. If I was to go second, I would pick Ricks, but I can only pick one, so we're gonna go with Spliff. And the AA, it's really hard to choose because Too Easy isn't there anymore, and Too Easy was really ahead above everybody else in terms of pitching. But if I was to pick a AA Von Asen, it's got to be my unicorn of the week buddy, Bo Dangles. His whip was insane last season, and he really was an underrated pitcher. And he pitched exceptionally well against the top-end matchups, and that's what really stood out to me when I was going through these. Kawashi's a close second. It was a tough pick between them two. Then in the XBL, there's probably 7 players. I think this was the hardest one for me to predict that could have won. But I'm going to go with MJ getting that Von Asen because he's always right there on the cusp of getting that Von Asen. And he's got the same pitching style, and his location is probably the best in the world when it comes to that 4-seam and the fastball. So MJ is going to be my XBL pick. If anyone else wins it in the XBL, my pick would be Ox, but we're not doing 2 takes, even though I gave you a runner-up for every league.
Oh, we're definitely doing 2 takes.
I don't want to give 2 takes. It's going to be too much. My other choice was that I was going to say somebody's going to win the Triple Crown this year, which means Long Ballo, Von Asen, and Championship. But you don't have to type that one out.
All right, a Triple Crown, though, that's something. And we're talking already in the chat about possibly getting some odds on this type of stuff for the Hog. So that'll be really, really cool. But now we've got Mystery Man all the way at the bottom. He left us with a surprise here. So Mist, what exactly is your hot take, my friend?
Yeah, so this is kind of a motivational. I'm going to be a motivational speaker here. What's that Tony Robbins dude? So, I got my man here who I think doesn't really realize it, but needs a little bit more motivation than he thinks he does. So I'm just, kind of like myself, a little bit of a front runner, needs to really get pushed over the finish line, and I'd love to see it. So this is a combo pick. So the first part of the pick is that Degeneration K, which we know is the tag team of Spliff Star and Burning Ice, will both win a first round playoff matchup.
I like that take. Is that the full take? Is there more to it?
So the second part of that is that, and I hate to say this because this is a motivational item, but I do think it's very possible, is that the Motor Sox get defeated in the first round of the playoffs.
Bulletin board material. I like it.
Getting specific, miss, like always.
Nah, I can dig it. I think that's, good call outs there. That missed keeping it behind the scenes till later for us. That's exciting. Doesn't quite fit on the screen the way I have it formatted right now, but that's all right. But yeah, dude, good takes. I like it. I mean, I think the Degen K one, I'm with you on that. I think they will. I have a lot of confidence in Ice's ability to make the playoffs and then be a problem. Split, a given, I think. Hopefully, at least in his mind, for sure. And then, yeah, me getting defeated in the first round. I mean, fat chance. Good luck. Who's going to do it? Whatever. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right?
Yep. Yeah, it could be Jay Ace. It could be me. It could be Rise. AAA is stacked. You're not going to get a freebie in the first round.
That's for sure. Well, yeah, folks, that takes it through the hot takes. And does anyone have anything else to drop in here before we head on to the final slide of the evening before we get out of here? If that's a no, then folks, we are going to take it over one last time to the XBL Hall of Fame. We're going to go talk about a player tonight who's been near and dear to our hearts for quite a long time. If you've been in and around the XBL community, if you've been in and around the Super Mega Baseball community as a whole, you've probably come across this player. We obviously talked about them here tonight. They're a returning player. Someone that I'm glad to personally also call a friend, a longtime player, who is the epitome of balance in the game and gameplay. It was already said tonight that the player is who he is. After all this time, but he is a very good player. He is someone that, when I think of Super Mega Baseball as a whole, again, I associate this person with that game and that legendary status when I first looked at those early PR lists. So without further ado, we induct a friend and baller tonight into the XBL Hall of Fame by the name of Ted Danson. Ted, congratulations, my good friend. A well-deserved Hall of Fame for you.
Yeah, congrats, Ted. Not only is he in the Hall of Fame of the XBL, he's also in the Hall of Fame of stock traders.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to speak up for Ted. Yeah, Ted is such a great competitor. Ted is balls out. He wants to win.
Yeah.
He's an ass roster builder, and he still competes against the best. I love this guy.
Yeah, Ted is great. Where would the XBL be without the morning coffee chats between Ed and Ted talking about stocks and bonds and stuff? So it's great to see him added to the Hall of Fame here. And yeah, he's a great player as well. So just super stoked to see him added.
Yeah, longtime player, multiple seasons, nearing the 10 seasons that get you automatically into the Hall of Fame. He's got at least, I believe, 8 seasons in the XBL. And now he's, 3,000 hits, 100 plus wins, you name it. He's got a 300 plus average. He just doesn't have all the hardware that goes with it. But he's done an amazing job being a consistent player, being a big part of this community. So congratulations, Ted. We definitely appreciate you having you around. And we're glad that you're on this big old plaque with me and Eduardo now. We can always talk BS about that for the rest of our days. So exciting stuff here, folks. It's been a really good show, but that is all of our content. I mean, guys, this was a long one, but as always, a really good one. What do you think?
Yeah, a really good show. Want to thank everybody, Dwayne, Zlat, Uni. You guys are the producers. You're the ones that really make this happen. So I do think this is going to be an unbelievable season. We had basically as many signups as ever, and I think these are the best signups we've ever had.
Yeah, I can piggyback on that. I mean, every year I play, I think, wow, what a great season. And then the next season we play, I'm like, wow, this is going to be another great season. Look at all these new faces. Look at all these returning players. And it's the people in the league that make it fun. I mean, I'm in there always shooting the shit with people, trying to get on people's nerves. But there's so many good people in the league that keep returning and keep the vibes the way they need to be in here. And as long as we're playing, the game's going to stay alive. So like Sham's hot take was, I just hope nobody drops, because I understand life gets in the way, but man, it's so much fun to play these leagues, and it's so much fun to do the broadcast and stuff like that from my perspective. And I would hate to see the league go away and not be able to do broadcasts anymore. So I'm glad everyone's returning, and we still have a nice, fat, juicy number of players. And the best part about season 19 is AA is stacked out as well. AAA and XBL is always there, but AA coming back for like 2 or 3 straight seasons of a stacked roster, man, this is great. It's going to be an awesome time.
Yeah, I mean, this community is just so great. It's made by the people that are in it. The best part of the season is just the beginning here, kicking it off. Everybody has all their hopes and expectations for the season. The vibes are always immaculate here at the start, and we hope to ride that out through the rest of the way of the season. So thank you guys for showing out. And if there are any sort of hiccups or anything, any timing issues you guys have during your season, just let someone in league office know. Try to be as accommodating as we can. But yeah, we definitely, like Uni said, we hate to see people drop or quit during a season. So just know that we try to be as accommodating as possible, and let's keep the vibes high.
Keep that energy. The signups are rolling into a really awesome season. The preview show sets the stage. Opening night is upon us on Saturday. Be there, be square, folks. We'll see you at 5:30 Eastern time for Fireball Max and Rick's. Everybody have a great night. Have a safe one.